Hey, how's it going? My name's Ahmed Torres, and today I'm going to be doing a TED Talk on the benefits of being an octopus. It's a book review, um, and we're going to highlight a lot of the key points of why this book is important, um, best practices in the classroom, and how it integrates in education. So let's get started. Boom. So we have the benefits of being an octopus. I really like this background, by the way. Here is our author, Anne Braden. She's from Wilmington, Vermont, and she is a anti-violence activist. She's all about keeping the peace and just really uh, think smarter. Like don't why work harder when you can think smarter, and really advocated for situational thinking and really was a positive growth mindset type of person, to just have a positive environment and just make people feel safe. So she formed this group called the Local Love Brigade and this other program called Gun Sense VT in Vermont. She advocated for mentorship for youth all around the country, and she was awarded NPR's Best Books of 2018. Let's dig a little bit into like the local love brigade, or the LLB, I would shorthand it. After the 2016 presidential election, she formed the LLB where she would send postcards to anyone facing hate. So again, she's all about being positive. She's all about like spreading love and really like exchanging thoughtful ideas and kindness, and because all that stuff is free. And some of the big things that she liked was that she wanted people to feel safe, and she wanted her kids or the people around her to feel strong and energetic and positive and outgoing and safe to express themselves. And so she was really influenced by the 2016 election, where I'm not going to get too in depth political with it, but certain candidates were promoting a lot of hate speech, discrimination, and this triggered Braden to really step up for her community and promote a positive growth set, where she wanted everybody around her to flourish and be their best selves. So anybody that was facing any type of hate, she would literally send love postcards and tell them like, "You're awesome, you're the man, you got this. Like, I'm sorry you're going through this, but like, you can overcome this. You're an amazing individual." And so what happened was, little by little, it started to grow. And she really would it would go to many people around the world. She started local in Vermont and then expanded nationwide. Again, like she had an impact for advocacy for love and positivity, where that is just her. Anne Braden is a positive and loving person, and she wanted to make it known in her writing, in her um, in her activism, and just in her overall life. She used this as a vehicle for positive messages. So she understood that she had a platform. She had a platform that was not only extremely useful and she had a voice, but she wanted to make sure that people understood that. She wanted people to understand that life is not about hate. Life, it could be awesome with love, positivity, um, kind words, and just an overall great pedagogy to just to have around with the people. So she really was a leader, and inevitably it just led her to start writing these books. And this one, The Perks of Being an Octopus, was an amazing novel. I enjoyed it, cover to cover. It was just a really good book in general, and it just highlighted really good things like moving forward from her groups. The next one that she did was the Gun Sense VT. So after the Sandy Hook shooting, she felt super empowered to use her voice and vocalize um, gun laws and bring more gun reform in like Vermont, and educate the community like of guns. And she really wanted universal background checks. So like you see in the picture, she was just really like, you know, kids died in that event, and it just moved her. And she was just like, why can anybody just get a gun? Let's like, this is not right. Like, we need to, yes, Second Amendment, um but people need to go through the correct protocols, or some enough screenings to be able to obtain one. So she wanted to educate her communities about and bring forward gun reform in Vermont. She wasn't exactly anti-guns, but she just wanted people to go under the go through the efficient screening. She didn't want just anybody buying a weapon, and she just wanted everybody to go through the check, like the correct checks, background checks, applications. But this was really tough, especially in Vermont. Vermont is a very strong pro-gun state, and for her, she had a lot of backlash, but she also had a lot of supporters. So transitioning from like her groups, this really led to her to write one of her award-winning books, The Benefits of Beating Octopus. And some of the main focus was that she wanted to highlight, especially like it uh, stemmed from like the communities that she either taught in, or sorry, that she was working in, and just really wanted to focus on like the obstacles of poverty, like classism and gun violence. Those are really uh, key components in her activism and in her in her campaigns, and she wanted to use her platform for the for the better. So in the book, the main character is Zoe. Zoe is in the seventh grade and has to grow up faster than her friends. Uh, what I mean by that is that she has to undergo obstacles that no other seventh grader should ever go. Her mom was not the best example. She was struggling financially, taking care of her siblings, and Zoe really had to step up and be the mom for her and the protector for her brothers and sisters, and she had to step up and be the helper, and all while being in the seventh grade. Poor little girl. And you know sometimes she was like, damn, I'm in the seventh grade, like why do I have to go through these problems? Why does my mom have to suck so called forth? And really it's just it's really unfortunate, but this is like an actual problem in nationwide. Like um this isn't something that just happens to her, and this doesn't just happen in a book. Like, I grew up personally in the hood, and I grew up a single mom with a single mom who had to provide, who had to get a job and put out her best effort and put food on the table. And her mom in this book, Zoe's mom in this book doesn't necessarily do that, but Zoe is not ignorant to the fact that like, hey, my mom could be doing better, or she's not highlighting the importance of certain things. So her mother works at a pizza parlor, and they barely make ends meet. She hops around from boyfriend to boyfriend who's going to provide the family security, and it's just appalling for her age, like her daily struggles. Like, she has to worry about food, she has to worry about waking up early and getting her brothers and sisters ready, and helping her mom cook in the morning, or like, and just taking up responsibility more than just a little seventh grader should be doing. So, she's in the seventh grade. Zoe's the main character, and she's a focal point. But like, she's also this like enigma of a character that like I can relate to. She struggles in school because she has so many other focuses. I see students in my classroom that are like, freshmen that are working restaurant jobs, that are grinding, that are literally helping their families put food on the table, and they got to work cash jobs. Some of them are immigrants, some of them are illegal, and these are all other little obstacles that as like educators, we have to take in consideration when we're like, either disciplining the student or trying to understand them. And she's constantly caring for her brother and her sister, like I said, and her mom is just constantly making bad decisions. She's the adult, she needs to be the leader, but inevitably Zoe's becoming the leader, and she's the one being making talking and trying to enjoy her youth, but at the same time she has to be an adult. She has to make adult decisions for her mom, and she really has to be that moving chess piece where she has to really make the right decision for her brother, the best interest of her brother and sister. Her mom really neglects her efforts in that, like, around the house. Like, her mom always tells her like, "Oh, that's all you did," or like, "You ain't doing this for me," and just kind of like every all her efforts is for as a young little girl are not enough, and they're being dismayed by her mom, and it's just like heartbreaking because it's like I I wouldn't know where I would be emotionally, or mentally and physically if I was in her situation at her age. um, she lives in a trailer park with her mom and her mom's boyfriend Lenny, who she hates. And like, the guy is he's he's an a-hole, and he really just doesn't act like a role model and a father. Yeah, he provides them a nice trailer because his family owns the trailer park, and I feel like her mom is using that for security. But it's just like, That's not helping her situation. Goes into our main issues. So Lenny's mom's toxic boyfriend constantly is abusing her right in front of the kids. And it's just something that like that Zoe sees every day, and it reminds me, I'm like, this is something that happens in life, in real life. There are kids in our schools that are undergoing this type of abuse and this type of trauma. And I think as educators, it's important that we are sensitive to this information, that we are proactive. Sorry, my headset was acting up. Um, and I think we have to be proactive and understand and be sensitive to this information, because it's like we don't know what the emotional triggers are for our students and our kids in the school. Um, and inevitably all these problems catch up to Zoe. She struggles at school. She struggles with like her life. Um, and she's constantly caring for her siblings, and she has to live in poverty. And I think that like what appalls me is that like Zoe understands this. She is fully comprehensive of like what the situation is. She understands that she has to care, she has to be an adult, and sometimes she just wishes like in the book she's just like, I wish I could just be a kid. I wish I could be an octopus. I wish I could just hide. Like I have all the camouflage. Like octopus. She was so fascinated with like the octopus species, the animal, that they can like fit through tight spaces, and the metaphors of just like how they can just use their camouflage, and she just wishes that she could use camouflage to escape that reality and just let herself live as a kid. Some of the biggest takeaways is like, as a student of the urban education program, this relates heavily to the inner cities. There's students that are today in my classroom living through trauma. They're living through a poverty and through classism. Their parents are either immigrants, or they don't have the parents at all. They're coming from foster homes or group homes, and they don't have the best situation. You really never know what a student's going through, and sometimes it just takes a little, hey, how are you? Are you good? Or like checking in on them, maybe one on one, pulling them to the side. Um, and just because a student is a poor performer in the classroom doesn't mean they're a poor, like they don't possess any talent. That student can be the most talented and gifted student you can ever have, but you need to know how to engage them. You need to know how to motivate them. And I think that this book highlights really important parts of how, as an educator, you are the key to that person's success, not because of the content, but using that content as a vehicle to really deliver that message and that pedagogy, and bringing out the best characteristics of that student. Many of the problems Zoe faced are just with our what our students go through, like I said, and it's our job to get to know our students and play an active role in their part. So, I think it's the end of my presentation, but like I think it's a great point to understand that our students are human beings and that we need to be there for them. And as adults, educators, and leaders, we need to be open and sensitive to all types of views, and be there for our students and be the best that and be there for the best as we can as adults and for them. Thank you for listening. And yeah, this is what I got. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.